Hi, this is Sarah Lingro with PianoKeyFinders.com, and I am recording this video to give my students a challenge exercise for the week. Okay, so the card that you're going to be using is the 6251 or orange, purple, red, yellow card, and I'm going to have you go around the circle of fifths. So you can go in random order, you can go whatever order, and we're going to use the number 2 rhythm from the 3/8 side of the rhythm reference sheet. So here we have 3/8, number 2, it's 3/8 notes. And we're going to have you do this chord progression on the 6251 cadence in all 12 keys. And I'm going to have you do 4 beats of that dun 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 for each chord. So let me show you. I'm going to start this by putting the yellow arrow on C. And then of course, you know me, have to have 20,000 versions of the circle of fifths. I'm using a sticky note to hold it in place because it seems like when I have acoustic or grand pianos, the cards tend to flop forward. Using a sticky note means that you're not going to hurt your paper, nor are you going to hurt your wood on the piano. Here's my circle of fifths. I'm starting at C, and I'm going to play at least 4 bars, maybe 8, of this particular rhythm using the 6251 card. So here we go. Doing it with my left hand. So if I'm in the key of C, then it is A minor, D minor, G7, C. Now, the purpose is to get muscle memory. Now, when you are doing this card, you have 3 chords that have 3 notes, and then the dominant 7th chord has 4. If you are doing a triplet figure or the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then take out any one of the notes that you want. And I would say take out the 3rd, the 5th, or the 7th. So if I'm taking out the 3rd, it sounds like this. So here's the 4 notes of that dominant 7th. So if I'm taking out the 3rd, it sounds like this. If I'm taking out the 5th, it sounds like this. And if I'm taking out the 7, it sounds like this. All 3 of those are completely legitimate chords to play when you are doing this rhythm. So here's the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a rhythm with the A minor, D minor, G7, C. As I said, on the red chord, take out whatever you need. So that's in C. So if I'm going to do this, another thing is you're going around the circle. Here we're going to G. Play it where it sounds best. So if you start moving this way down to the lower end of the keys, you might find that you don't really like the way it sounds. And same thing if you push it up too high. So use your judgment on whether or not this sounds good and whether you like it. So when I'm in the key of G, the chords then become E minor, D7, G. So here's that same pattern. Now, if you get tired of playing it in that order, you can change the order of the notes. So I can do this. Same rhythm, namely 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, same chords, but slight modification. Let's see, how else could we do it? So there, instead of having an ascending line, it was a descending line. On the dominant 7th chord, you could actually do So you could use all 4 if you're doing that. So after G comes D. Let's see what happens if I push the D down here. How does this sound? So B minor, E minor, A7, D. So, sorry, I'm starting on purple. So then I would encourage them to try it in a different octave. So I'm going to move this up to the D up here and see how that sounds and if I like it better. So that works pretty nicely. It depends on where you're going to put that in your music, whether you're using this with the right hand or the left hand, and what you want to do melodically. So before even adding anything in terms of a different melody, get this really comfortable in your hand. What I really like about using the cards is that it's not tied to music. It's just about developing motor memory, you know, having this motion in your hands, but also you get the ear training aspect of it. I'll have my students call out the names of the chords as they're playing them so that they also associate the name with the sound. So B minor, E minor, A7, D. They're also going to start seeing when you have a lead sheet or where you have the chords written on top of your music that you're going to notice that B minor going to E minor is pretty common. And then A7 is often going to resolve to the D. So when you see those chords, if I see B minor, E minor, A7, D, then I'm automatically starting to think that I'm in the key of D major because I've been doing this. The cool thing about these cards is that you don't have to have a whole lot of experience in order to be able to play them accurately. And I have students who've had lessons with me for less than a year who can play all of these chord patterns in all 12 keys. Think about this. You're playing 2 different inversions of the minor. So if you do it in all 12 keys, you're doing 2 different inversions of each minor, and then you're doing a dominant 7th in all 12 keys, and then you're doing a second inversion major. The chord cards here have the scale degrees in the chords here. So later on, if they understand that a flat 3 is a minor third, if they want to make this chord major, then they slide the 3 over. And if they want to make this chord major, then they slide the 3 over 1. And if they want to make these ones minor, then they can slide the 3 down 1 or slide the 3 down 1. And so once you start understanding how these chords are structured, then changing them isn't very difficult. So my challenge to you is the 6-2-5-1 chord progression in all 12 keys using the number 2 rhythm from the rhythm sheet. Spend 5 minutes a day. If you don't do all 12 keys in one day, that's okay. Keep track of which ones you did and then do a different set the next day. So you could do 4, 4, and 4, and you'd get all 12 keys every other day or every 2 days. If you wanted to do 3, 3, and 3, then you would get 3 keys a day. And you know, over the course of the week, you're going to be able to hit all of them pretty easily. If you want to challenge yourself, then the chord scales that work with these cards. So here I'm in D major. So I could do D major. I could do D major, A major. I could do B minor and E minor, and those 5-note scales, D major, A major, E minor, B minor, will work with that chord pattern so that you can play really nice things together. So my challenge is going around the circle of fifths on a 6-2-5-1 chord progression using the number 2 rhythm with 3/8, hitting all keys and seeing if you can get through the circle of fifths at least, 2 or 3 times during the course of the week. Happy playing, and I'll talk to you later.